So, Richard, you've had a lot of regrets in your life. What's the biggest regret you've ever had?
Let's get deep.
Well, I mean, this isn't about my regrets because we haven't got 7 hours. Because
say, tell me where your troubles are.
My regrets began almost immediately upon taking my first breath.
I was 3. Yeah. Mom said I could not have that glass of milk.
I have a number of regrets, but why I put this in the notes and where this story comes from. Firstly, apologies if I A, look and B, sound a bit crappy. I am suffering from some form of viral infection. Maybe a cold, but we'll see. I was chatting to a guy the other night, really interesting guy out in LA, and we just happened to mention the Doors, and he was like, I have got the coolest Jim Morrison story for you. And you know what I thought?
All right, I'll be back in an hour or so.
I thought this is perfect for the podcast with Blake, because Blake loves Jim Morrison so much.
Loves him.
Loves him.
Firstly, before I get there, what is your biggest ever music regret? I'm going to put a pin in that for later. That's what this is about.
Oh, I got a good one.
Because this guy has got a big regret. Now, I'm going to anonymize this to protect the innocent. It was the summer of love. He was in Central Park with a friend of his, a bandmate of his, and he went to watch a popular blues band of the time. And as they were kind of like scanning around Central Park, they were like, do you see who I see? And they're like, who? And he's like, that's Jim Morrison. So they walked over, and it was indeed Jim Morrison of the Doors. And he was like getting prepared when he saw them coming over. He's like, oh, here we go. And they just went over and they completely fanboyed him. They're like, we love your work. This is amazing, etc., etc. And then he goes, so what do you guys do? And they said, oh, we're in a band. And they were like, oh, Jim Morrison was like, where can I see you play? And then they like looked at each other like, Joe's parents' garage. And so Jim Morrison laughed and took 2 tickets out of his top pocket. And they were tickets to see him play in a small club in New York that night. And they couldn't go because one of them, let's just say, had borrowed one of their parents' vehicle, and the parent may not have known about it, so it had to be returned. So they had a choice, parental hell or go and see Jim Morrison. They didn't go. That night, Jim Morrison took to the stage and was joined by Jimi Hendrix.
No.
Can you, and I think I've got a bootleg of that night. Could you have a bigger gig regret than that? I mean, I've got a few, I had tickets to go and see The Cure, and we were just like, oh, it's too cold, we can't be bothered. And it was a good gig, and I missed it, blah, blah. But missing Morrison and Hendrix, I mean, that's got to be right up there for you, right, Blake?
I mean, I would hate to miss Jimi Hendrix.
But it made me think, what I put a pin in, what do you guys have any kind of like gig stroke music regrets? And I'd like to hear from the listeners too in the fullness of time.
Man,
mine is not very specific, but my wife and I both are, I mean, it's hard to have a regret. We were really too young to have been able to go, but we regret that we never got to see Waylon Jennings live. We've seen Merle, we've seen Willie a couple times, it would have been great to see Waylon because he's our top dog anyway. And we were just a little too young to have caught him. He died, I think, when I was about 12 or 13. So I wasn't quite going to shows on my own yet at that point. But yeah, still, even if I couldn't remember it, would have been cool to say
Shooter,
I was there.
What about Shooter Jennings? Have you not seen him?
I've not seen Shooter. So I do have a message out to Shooter. Read your DMs, Shooter.
I got to tell you though, Blake, you'd have been proud of me because I'm a rambling man. By Waylon Jennings is used in an advert over here, and it came on the TV the other night, and I said, Anna, that's Merle Haggard.
No, you did not.
Yeah, of course I did. I can't remember which one's which.
Oh, jeez.
They're all the same.
I love them both. I'm just going to let you know that. What about you, Brian? Do you have any music?
I actually have a bunch of them. Before, a few weeks ago, I would have said I was in a band in my early 20s that was a killer band. Just an absolute great musicians. and was there fun people to play with. And stupidly, I just got out of that for dumb reasons, and I should not have ever done that. So that's a big regret. But
Was a lady involved?
well, she was a singer. But
were you also married to her, Bri?
no, I wasn't married to her.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll leave that. We'll leave that part of the conversation for another time.
Let's
Not put that on the internet.
But have a good
Brian's
day.
got a very interesting color. I would call that crimson, maybe nuclear crimson.
Yeah, moving swiftly along from that question.
Sure, yeah.
My most recent thing is I just found out, and I'm so frustrated. George Lynch announced they were not doing any more Lynch Mob concerts. And the thing is, like, they came to town last, 6 months ago or something. And I couldn't make it. And I literally texted George and I said, hey, I really want to be there. Are you guys coming back to Indy for this at all? And he's like, I'm sure we will, man. I'm sure we will. And he lied to me. They're done. There's no more Lynch Mob stuff, man. I wanted to see them at least once. I never got to see Lynch Mob.
Oh man.
You never.
Never.
I just assumed with your deep love that you had caught him at least 5 or 6 times.
I've talked to George several times, and I've never been to a concert of his. I've just seen him like at NAMM or guitar show or something like that. I talked to him on the phone, but yeah. So I'm really bummed about that, man.
That does suck. It's also quite funny given how much stick you give me for guitarists that are not George Lynch, but I understand it. I kind of feel the same with Bowie, because Bowie did some tours in like the early noughties when Leela was born, and we were like, oh, we can't be bothered. We'll wait for the next one. And I had money saved for the next Bowie tour, and then he selfishly went and expired and left the planet, and now we'll never.
I gotta get out of here before that Richard Oliver creep gets to one of my shows.
I have seen him twice on 2 of his previous tours in the 80s and 90s, but I wanted my daughter to see him, so that kind of bums me out. But yeah, it is what it is. But I do feel I've reached a point in life where I'm kind of sanguine about missing any gig now. Like if a gig passes me by, I no longer feel that like urgent pang of, oh, I must go to it, unless it's Gilmore.
Yeah. I think maybe that has something to do with A, going to lots of shows, and B, like having kids. It's just kind of, you're like, you really realize, like for me right now, I'm speaking for myself, like I could go to this show and I want to, but that means I'm probably not taking my kids yet. Like, they'll come to some shows, but they don't want to go to all of them. And not all of them are for kids. And so it's just a little bit weird. So it's like, okay, I'm definitely going to leave you for the night. And, man, listeners know this, but I started doing this podcast before I even had kids. So they're 9 and 6 now. And it feels weird to have been podcasting longer than my children have been alive. Yeah, it feels like it's going fast. So I do kind of make that calculation. I'm like, I could go to this show and I really will have a good time and I'll love it. But I do have to leave my kids for the night, and I don't really want to do that, because pretty soon, before I know it, they're going to not want to be around me anymore.
That is true. Can confirm if there's a point where they don't want to be around you. Yeah.
Normally between the ages of about 10 and 100.
Well, I would say my older kids, they actually came back around. They're like, oh, wow, you weren't full of shit. How have you been?
Yeah, it's funny how that works. Well, I'm like, Dad was right. Oh, Dad was right. Or I'm just becoming my father. What are you doing? Get off that. Oh, no. I've heard these words before.
No, I mean, we are going to see Pulp in June, me, Anna, and Leela. So Leela still goes to gigs with us, but obviously Daddy has to pay, which is a little bone of contention. It's not really.
Right. Did you guys see what happened at Brooks and Dunn?
No, what happened?
The walk-off.
Yeah.
What?
Explain it to me, Brian.
I was there.
Oh,
what?
See, so I saw that and I was like,
yeah.
Oh, that's the night before Brian went.
No, that was the night I was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't. I missed all of this.
So,
I'm ready for the juicy info.
I don't know how much I can say. What have they released? Have they released anything about it?
There is an article. Well, let me find the article, and then if I read that out.
And our guest in a couple of weeks plays bass right now with Brooks and Dunn too, so he might say a little bit more. I just don't. I know some stuff, and I don't want to say things I'm not supposed to.
So what happened?
So basically, I mean,
why Brooks and Dunn's Ronnie Dunn abruptly boot scooted. See, they use that term too. Off stage during concert encore.
That was before the encore, but yeah. Well, it was right around that time. It was a weird concert.
I mean, it says he had some like health problems here, right?
Yeah. Okay. So it does talk about that.
It says he tapped his hand over his heart and waved.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It wasn't a heart thing.
Hold on. No. Radio host Matt Malone recorded the moment. Blah 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 blah. So the clip's on TikTok.
Right.
Dunn can be seen rocking out with Kix, Brooks, and their bassist as they perform their twanging hit "Boot Scootin' Boogie." That's where it all comes from, Brian. After encouraging fans to sing it if you know it, Dunn looks at the bassist, shakes his head, and gestures that he's done for the evening. Walks to the edge of the stage, extends his arm to the audience, taps his hand over his heart. That's like a love thing, and then that's it. And he exits stage.
Okay, so no reason why. Okay, so he's fine. He's going to be fine. But and I've seen Brooks and Dunn a few times. I know those guys pretty well. So we went there. The first song in, I turned to my wife and I was like, "Something's off." I've seen these guys like I can tell something is off here, and like Ronnie didn't hit a few notes, and I'm like, "What?"
That's unlike what? Ronnie? Ronnie always hits the notes.
Yeah, like what concert did we go to? And this Ronnie Dunn. So I'm like, something is really off. I don't know if maybe he doesn't have a good monitor mix in his ear. Like something is just absolutely not right. But keep in mind, like this is, when you see someone a bunch of times, you kind of know what to expect, and like the interactions and stuff. So to the crowd, like no one really knew. I knew about second song in. And he would sing a bit and he looked like he was struggling a lot more than normal. And then he would just he'd walk off stage for a minute and then he'd come back on and try to do another part of the song. And then he would walk off stage for a minute and come back and do it. I'm like, something is not right, man. And, of course, Kix tried to do the best he could. There was a few parts, I think it was on Boot Scoot when Ronnie walked off, that no one sang. It was just, they would sing the background vocals, but it was just empty where the vocals were. And the band did a really good job of pulling it off and being professional. I will say that. Like it was a cluster. And they did a really good job to 30,000 people not making it be a cluster to those people. So they did a great job there. But, from my perspective of seeing this numbers of times, I'm just like, yeah, these guys are kind of panicking. Like, what do we do? Where do we go? What's next? Like, it was all they weren't following the normal set. Kix is like, how about if we, hey, this is a song we did at some point. I don't even remember what album, but we're going to play this song now. So like they were trying to just kind of get through it and still put on a good show. So at the end, Ronnie's just like, he's just like, he basically just kind of sang a little bit and he kind of waved and he just walked off. And so I think he had COVID a couple weeks ago and it was really struggling with some breathing issues with being sick. So
it said something about strep throat and some other stuff earlier. So it sounds like he's basically been through the mill.
He was, he was. And I think they were just trying to, I think he thought it was good enough, I guess, but and I don't know what happened the next night. Maybe he was fine the next night. I don't know.
And how big are Brooks and Dunn? Because
huge.
Massive.
Like I get the impression they're massive, but for me, I've never heard of them.
Right.
Except via Brian, right?
Yeah. In America, I mean, it's like one of the main country bands in America.
Right.
Since
the 90s.
What, 92?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they are,
and they've been huge since then. They've never really. They're a band. They took a little break for a while in like the mid-aughts, but they've basically been the same amount of famous since the early 90s, which is very famous.
Right.
Okay.
And they're incredible live. I've caught them live before.
They really are great. Yeah.
They sound amazing, and I'll say it. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Neon Moon is a perfect song.
It's a great song.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, really, what I think Ronnie is somewhere near 70, pushing 70. Usually, when you hear a lot of these singers that are that age, they're lowering keys, right?
Yeah.
So they're changing keys, and they just don't sound like they used to. He does, man. He sounds exactly like he did in '92.
Mm.
Wow.
You know, so, and when he hits a note, he's dead on the note, and so it was, all these things. I'm like, something is not right.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
definitely sending him good vibes for the future, because it is tough to perform at that age. It's tough to perform at our age. It's tough to even practice at our age. And apparently you can make the mistake of calling a saxophone a horn and brass. And it is
How
neither,
dare you call
apparently.
the brass-made instrument
Hold on.
that has a horn at the end
Wait a
of
minute,
brass
a
horn?
saxophone is not a brass instrument?
Well, it is, but it's not considered. It's considered woodwind. And like when someone pointed this out to me on
What color is it?
brass, it's brass and it's horn shaped, but it's neither brass nor a horn.
That's
okay?
right. Yeah, keep up, Brian.
And the reason is
All right.
essentially the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece of a saxophone is a reed-based mouthpiece, which is kind of two bits of wood that you blow through. Whereas a trumpet, which is a brass instrument, has a brass mouthpiece. So I think it's the mouthpiece that differentiates it, except for flutes, which break this.
Which is a horn, a brass horn.
No, it's a guitar.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
I thought it was a synthesizer. Wait a minute.
I got to say, probably one of the reasons Brooks and Dunn haven't made it over here, or are not so well known, is it kind of sounds like an English shoe shop. Like you literally could walk
does,
down a street
yeah.
and it would say Brooks and Dunn, shoemakers to the gentry from 1817.
I just thought that maybe over there no one's into boot or scooting.
We very much are. There's an underground boot scooting movement going on as we
Yeah.
speak.
Mm-hmm.
I love country music now. I am a complete convert. Like I tell you, when I'm in my car on my own and I'm like, all right, there's nobody listening, I crank up me some well, not Merle Haggard, but maybe it is sometimes.
I would love to hear Merle Haggard in a very thick European accent. I've never heard that.
Like Eastern European?
Sure.
You're
mean-
perverse. But
I'm not even going to try to do that impression.
I
I'm not gonna
I
do
can't do that, but it's such a thick. I don't know what you would call
We
it.
would
Not really
insult
southern-
Silver wings. I don't know.
we would insult everybody. We would insult everybody.
I better
if we
stop
tried.
while I'm ahead. This is gonna there's no way this is gonna pull out. This is not gonna be a good flight. Get back off the tarmac. Nope, not landing
dude,
here.
I saw this guy's flight simulator rig earlier, right? It had no less than 9 monitors. And I know we were talking about monitors earlier.
Yes,
Right?
I love
Listen,
those.
Brian,
I
it
want
was
one
the
so bad.
Right, but you've rebuilt your studio. I've got a suggestion to make. It's time to reintroduce the Wampler shuttle, because this guy had the lot. He had all of the control sticks, all of the yokes, all of the switch. Like, it was ridiculous. Even the monitors were separated with like plastic padded like material, so it looked
So it
exactly
looks like
like
Windows,
the interior of a phone, right? A phone of a
phone, yeah.
plane, not a phone, well, a big phone. Oh, dude, you could spend so much money on that stuff.
That would be awesome.
I saw that same post, Richard. I'm pretty sure, and I was like, wait a minute, is that a real cock? Nope, that's not a real cock. He might as well have spent the same amount of money on a real
Someone
cockpit. but
actually
yeah.
made that comment. They were like,
Mhm.
it would have been cheaper for you to go to flight school, learn how to fly, and buy a plane than it would be to put
That's
this thing together.
you people say if I ever become like a millionaire or something, there'll be signs. That would be the sign. Like Brian has a full 747 cockpit just for video games.
Would you, though? Would you be realistic? Would you take like an 8-hour flight across the Atlantic and like sit there for 8 hours piloting it?
I would be the weird person that would do that. Yes, I
knew
would
it.
love to do that.
Absolutely knew it.
So as stupid as it is, what's the Xbox flight simulator game?
Flight simulator?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So
Microsoft
I'm
Flight
the nerdy person that figured out how to orbit Earth, and then I just orbited Earth for about an hour and a half once.
Yeah, see, I found all of my boss's houses and crashed F-14s into them. That was much more fun, trust me. Come here, Brian. I found the barn. That's brilliant, that Microsoft Flight Simulator, though. It's so much fun. Like, if you fly around where I live, like Portsmouth area, all of the landmarks are there. So it's like, oh, I'm about to crash into Venture Tower, where I used to work. But
you can land in my goat pasture if you're.
That's illegal.
No, you can do it,
in
though.
most
It's
states.
Not in Flight Simulator. Nothing's illegal. It's like GTA 6 in there.
I would laugh if somebody did actually now try and land in your goat pasture.
You know what I want? They have these big drones, about $300,000, but they have these big drones that you can buy. They're only legal in 2 American states, though, because I've already looked it up. But I want
Which
one of these
states?
so bad. One was like Maine, and the other one was like Wisconsin or something.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you literally can buy this big drone. You basically have a little Xbox controller or whatever, and you're flying a drone and sitting in it. And I want
I've
one.
seen that.
I want
one
it
too.
I really.
I mean,
want one
what
bad.
could go wrong?
But I have a question. So along these same lines, serious question. I really want to know this. You have to have a license to fly a drone here.
Okay.
You could buy an ultralight and not have any sort of license at all. So you
Mhm.
literally can take a lawnmower engine, put it on a big kite, fly it in the air without any license.
Have done, can recommend.
But if you want to take a little drone and fly it up in the air and like make videos of your house or whatever, need a license for that, bub.
See,
How?
over here, you need a license for the microlight too. They wouldn't
Yeah.
let you just fly.
Oh.
Uh,
Yeah, no, here you
Here
gotta.
it's like,
Yeah, let's rock and roll, buddy.
load up your cooler with some beer, bub, strap it down, and do it. I mean, what you gotta do? You know?
You make it sound like we're joking. No, there is a thing called paragliding, which is I might be getting that mixed up. Paragliding is without a motor. Without a motor,
yeah.
right? What's the one that's the same thing but with a motor?
That's the ultralights.
No, the ultralights you sit
You're,
down.
you're
and they kinda
talking
have a
about like
frame.
the fan man.
You got the big fan behind you.
Yeah,
like
the
Mo
backpack.
Sizlak in the
Yeah,
Simpsons episode.
It's like it's not paragliding because paragliding you just
It's
glide.
something like that, though. Not paramotoring. That's not it.
Yes, paramotoring. That's
Is
what
it?
it's called. Yeah, paramotoring. That's it. That's the one. Yes, so you basically are on it with a literal kite and strings.
Big fan behind you.
Big fan, a little Honda 5-horse.
Oh, shoot, boys. I didn't put any oil
I'm
in
going to
it.
say something that I didn't think I'd ever say, but I actually hope guitarpedalscourse.com doesn't ever make you any money, because I'm worried that if you made money, the next day you would be dead. It'd be
I'll be
like,
like, I wonder.
Indiana man found with goat remains and strange flying objects.
It would be Indiana man buys an ultralight, loads it down with multiple cans of gas, and tries to fly across the ocean.
Oh man!
I gotta get to Richard.
I can do it. I can do
I
it.
actually think there is more chance of Brian flying across on his own drone than ever getting on a commercial plane over here. I think that is more likely.
If
Like
I-
he doesn't.
Yeah, if I'm in control, I'm fine. It's whenever someone else is in control, I may have control issues. If someone else is in control,
You think?
Gotta load this here ultralight up. Let's see. By my calculations, I need about 39 gas cans to get to Portsmouth.
Would you actually though? Would you strap a goat to a drone and test it on Patty or one of the other goats?
well, you'd have to test it on a goat first, right, to make sure it's safe.
Right. I mean, they put a dog in space before a human.
That's right.
So
I mean,
it stands to reason.
If they wouldn't make Xbox type controllers for these things if you weren't supposed to do that. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
you know.
Wow.
That's good science.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, because nothing bad has ever happened in a vehicle controlled by
Right.
video game controllers,
Exactly.
either above the ground or under the ocean, has it?
Listen, as long as you go up, you're fine. It's those ocean waves that get
That's right.
interference with it, and you go up, you'll be
Yeah,
all
I mean,
right.
if you go up, you can always glide back down, but you can't glide back up very well
Wow.
when you're down in the ocean.
That's
This
right.
was not a subject I thought we were getting into tonight, but we're here.
Very hard to glide up from the bottom of the ocean.
Right, before we go on to the next thing, I'm going to give a quick shout out to a friend of the show, Mike Freer, who's going through some stuff, and it sucks, but we just want to say we really appreciate you, Mike.
Absolutely.
You're an awesome
Yes,
dude.
100%.
And I also want to mention, I spoke about GAC going into administration. Another retailer has got into administration, which is Bax Shop, BAX, which was a Dutch online retailer with very good pricing. And I think the reasons are probably different, but I don't like these retailers disappearing, Brian, mainly because I like gear and I like buying it cheaply in Europe.
What was the reason they went out of business?
I don't know.
Were they selling Wampler pedals? Maybe
not. Maybe that is the reason they didn't.
I'm just saying there's a trend.
There is a trend. And we are the trend setters. You only have to look at our clothing to see that other than Blake, we are the trend setters. No.
What, you don't like my Bigfoot hat?
No, it's kind of ironic because you are the trend setter and we're not.
How do you figure that? I was just telling me how she's like, you don't own a single pair of slacks. I was like, no, I hate them. Why would I wear those?
Well played, sir.
Yeah.
I had an experience the other day. I went to your American Costco, which is becoming one of my favorite shops, I got to say. And I bought some shorts there.
We're getting him, Brian. We're getting him.
I bought
Pretty
some
soon he's going to lose the accent.
I bought me some of them. Cargo shorts from Costco in the size that I normally buy. And I kid you not, I nearly did it there. I can put my hand fully in between my waist and the band. They're that much bigger than a UK version.
Oh, see, Brian, he's confused. The American sizing includes space for your revolver.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, this includes space for a Desert Eagle and a revolver and
now
probably a grenade.
Now you're talking. Yeah.
And where are you going to put your beer?
Well, yeah, you could stick a 6-pack. Honestly, I was like,
oh yeah, and a rotisserie chicken.
They sell good rotisserie chicken. I was like, Anna, this is a good problem to have, but these shorts are too big for me. I'm going to have to buy some belts, but they were so cheap, I had to buy them.
I also had suspenders.
What?
Tape measure suspenders.
Oh, suspenders, yeah.
Over here, we call those braces. Suspenders are what ladies wear to keep their stockings up.
Yeah, we don't. We call them by their real name here.
And I'm already wearing them, so I was a bit confused as to why I should be wearing another one. I had a pizza at Costco, and it is 8 slices and 4,000 calories. Like,
in other words, what you mean is it's good.
It was salty. I'll give it that much.
I think Costco pizza, while not my favorite pizza, I don't know what the pricing is in the UK.
£9.99 for an 18-inch pizza.
So it is still one of the best deals in pizza.
It fed a family of 4, and I had lunch the next day off it.
Right.
So
and you had enough calories for the week.
Yeah, and now I have diabetes.
Right? Oh, Costco, you didn't tell me this pizza came with diabetes.
I love Costco, but yeah, their shorts are cut kind of big, but I like that. So here was a big bit of news this week, and I'm not talking about the fact that Dave Gilmour was...
We skipped over the music store talk, too.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know what we can add to it other than it's sad, right?
I mean, so where are all these guitar stores going? Where are people going to go hang out at a guitar store and look at guitars and pull them off the wall and play their lynch mob stuff? Where's this going to happen at now? You can't get that from a YouTube video, man.
Oh,
there's something to be said though for the shops. And this is not across the board, so I'm not pointing fingers necessarily, but sometimes there's, obviously there's more than meets the eye, and we talked about that last week. But joking aside, if you're not keeping up on the brands that people are into these days, and you're not producing content, and you're not driving people to your store, I mean, look no further than Andertons as far as a UK example.
They
work really hard to get people into their store, and if you're not,
you would not believe how many people work at Andertons. I mean, you probably would, but it is like a TARDIS in that shop because the office is in the shop, the warehouse is separate, and you go in there and they have lots of people working there, more than 3.
I'm just saying they very clearly work really hard to get people to the store. People know who it is. Andertons has become a destination for people who I'm visiting the UK. I want to go to Andertons.
I mean, that's where I met Jordan from Poison Noises. Hi, Jordan. And it is a destination, and it's a great destination. It's a shame there aren't more like it, but I've just read a little bit more. So Bax has gone into administration, but if you go to their website, it says they may be back. So they may twist this round. They had 6 bricks and mortar stores throughout the Netherlands and Netherlands and Belgium. So it was a big business, right? And founded in 2003, so 22 years old. It's not like some, recent company. I don't know. Let me think of a recent company that may or may not be financially stable. WamplerCandyCanes.com, let's say. More on that later.
Hey, that one's growing big, though. I'm telling you, it's coming big.
But yeah, it may be coming back. Their website is actually, when I went to their website the other day, it said, "We're gone, bye, see you later." But if you go there today,
it's not the exact words.
The exact words, but in Dutch. It says, "It is currently not possible to place an order. We're working hard to make this possible again." But they've still got their catalogue up there. Now, this will be the test. If I go to guitars, will they have, if I go to electric guitars, have they got any Fender stock? They do not have any Fender stock.
Why is that the test?
Oh, wait a minute. They do. Because Fender will not let you advertise their gear if you are not holding money enough to pay for their gear.
Okay, fair enough.
They are no fools. I'm assuming based on what I've seen. Oh, well, this doesn't make sense, Bri. They sell Wampler pedals. How can they be bankrupt? They're all temporarily unavailable. But they've got a good range of pedals. They've got the little syntax and everything. That one's in stock. Everything else is temporarily unavailable, but they've got a syntax.
If you're looking for a syntax,
and you're in the Netherlands, there's your place. Go to this website that's mostly out of stock.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I don't know. I don't think we should be reading anything into this. I don't think this is anything to do with economic trading conditions. I think it's just businesses being run as businesses and having business problems. I think that's how I'd put it.
Makes sense to me.
Good. Right. JHS have released a suite of plugins, Bri. Now, there's an idea.
Yes, this is in conjunction with the Mixwave folks. So, of course, I'm interested. I love their plugins.
Actually, now that I think about it, that is a good idea. I think more people should do that.
What, release plugins?
Yeah.
Can you think of another guitar company that releases plugins?
I know that we have some plugins.
What?
Yeah, yeah, we sure do. In fact, they're all updated now. It's a completely new version.
Yes, sir.
So, and more coming soon too. I don't know who Mixwave is though. I mean, I've never used Mixwave's products. I don't know much about them at all. But
you gotta. We talked about it when their first product was the Benson amp modeling suite.
So Mixwave made that for them. So basically, you're using their engineers doing it. We're like coding all our own stuff. So I'm not familiar with it.
And when we say we, Brian is coding everything.
It's me. I basically just
COBOL.
I just use ChatGPT. I'm like, here's my schematic.
I can hear Jake's blood
spit
boiling
me out
from here.
Some code.
Oh, man.
Turn this into a cool.
Jake, he doesn't mean it. Jake, he doesn't mean it. Calm down.
1, make plugin. 2, print 1. Why isn't Richard? Why isn't this working? ChatGPT said it would work. Yeah, man, plugins are good, and I'm really like. So yes, we are working on a new plugin. It's like one of our classics. It's going to be great, but I'm really proud of the work that we've put into the plugins. Like we almost did that as I guess you would say like a kind of side project. Like we worked it around other releases. We worked on it when there was a bit of downtime here and a bit there, but the end result has been fantastic. And then once we did that, Brian saw them and was like, now we must do these properly, and that's what we have now done. But I like the fact that JHS are releasing plugins because
that's cool. I think more companies should do it.
They should. And you know what would be great with your JHS gain-based plugins? A little bit of Terraform, a little bit of Catacombs.
Maybe, a little Catacombs in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just saying.
So I'm just curious, guys. Looking at this. I know, obviously, they've got the pedals in here. We've got the Panther, we've got the Pulp and Peel, the Nauticlon, Morning Glory, and what's the other one there? Oh, it's the that high gain distortion they just get. The hard drive, I think, is what it's called.
Yes.
Yep. And they've done the Emperor thingamajigamy.
They have?
Yeah, I think Yeah, I think that's in there too. The delay.
Gotcha.
No, that's the Panther.
Oh,
That's Panther Cub.
yeah, Panther Cub Emperor, same
That's
thing.
analog delay. Empress was their phaser or chorus, I think. I forget. But my question is, they've also got this amp, the JHS Loud is More Good amp that we've all seen in the videos.
And that's a Milkman amp, right?
I believe that's correct. Is that part of it?
I think so. I think it is.
Oh, there it is. I scrolled down. Hey, look, if you scroll down further on the website, it says right here the answer to my question. So yes, it is the Milkman Loud is More Good amp that's also a part of it. So that's cool. You're getting a lot for that. That's really awesome.
That's a cool gig. Like I said, I think more pedal companies should really think about putting their stuff out as plugins as well.
And you know what the really cool ones do, Brian? They give you those plugins free when you buy the hardware. They don't charge you for them if you've already bought the hardware.
I think so. My thing is, I'm always thinking like, how do we make this more valuable to a customer, right? I know that sounds corny as hell, but in a sea where everyone, there's so many pedal companies available out there. How do you differentiate yourself from your competition, right? Well, to me, one of the ways is
Naked Thursdays.
Naked Thursdays. For
yeah,
sure.
buddy. Coming live at the Wampler Pedals YouTube channel. Naked Thursdays.
And the
Jello wrestling to follow.
That's right. And the other way, if you don't want to go for Naked Thursdays, is just to provide a little bit more value whenever you buy a hardware. You get the software version of it as well.
And photographs of things.
And candy canes.
Well, we'll come on to those candy canes in a minute, but hold your candy cane. Oh, that sounds rude. Don't hold your candy cane on a Naked Thursday. By the sound my wife's made, I think my dog's just had an accident in the house, so...
well, lucky you.
Yeah, that's not good. He's doing well, though. Thanks for asking. I've lost the train of thought now because I'm thinking.
Oh,
of
I was like,
Thursdays.
where are you? Right, Richard, come back to us. What's happening?
So plugins, fantastic. Now I do want to talk about a new release from Boutique Amps today, which we know a little bit about. The new Tone King Imperial preamp pedal. This thing looks ridiculous. Now I'm biased because I may have worked on some of the packaging for it, but it sounds amazing. Like the Pete Thorne demo, I was like, take my money now. And luckily, I spoke to the boss of Boutique Amps today. I was like, yes, take my money now. No, I didn't. But yeah, have you guys seen this?
I will take your money.
Yes, I will take all your money. No, did you guys see the release?
Am I confused or has something? Well, okay, I am. I'm eternally confused. But did this come out? Was this like announced or teased already?
I asked the same thing. I think it was a NAMM thing.
That's what I'm thinking.
Teased at NAMM.
Okay.
In the same way that the next pedal that we're going to talk about, the Crybaby Wah, that's just been announced today. The Mick Ronson version. I'm like, well, that was announced 3 months ago. So how is it being re-announced? But I think it's just the NAMM catch up. So yeah, it was shown at NAMM. There is a video of Pete and Lee actually from Andertons playing it at the Wampler stand, Bri. It's got a little gearbox hooked into it, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, I wasn't there for that one, but
I like
that would have been cool.
I like the look of this. And it was funny because I was putting the website together with my friend and business partner, Simon. And he was like, who's going to pay $599 for a guitar pedal? I'm like, oh,
Be
Simon.
surprised.
Simon, firstly, this is not a guitar pedal. This is an amp in a box, essentially. And have you heard of the Klon Centaur?
I was say, wait till he sees the Klon.
Yeah. So, no, it looks amazing. So I think that's going to sell out pretty quickly. If you are listening to this today and we recorded it yesterday, then one, the world still exists. That's good news. And two, you should buy one before they sell out. Because I'm seeing the sales numbers on the website and they are healthy. But yes, that brings me on to my next subject.
Oh boy.
The Mick Ronson Crybaby Wah. I mean,
yeah.
Do you get excited by new wah pedals ever?
Not once in my entire life.
So is a wah pedal exactly like a delay pedal in that you find the one you like and then you may not ever
I get
buy
excited
another
about
one?
delays. I don't care about wah.
I mean,
I had a wah, I had a Hendrix wah here for the last decade, and I saw somebody that needed one, and I said, "Here you go. I'm literally never going to use this."
I've had a lot of people ask me about making a wah. We've talked about this a number of times.
What would we call it though?
I think the common consensus is it should be called a Wampler.
What?
Yeah.
that's your name.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
But I mean, as a player, I remember I used a wah about 10 years ago, maybe, for something.
Was this when you were in that 70s funk band?
I don't even know what I was doing. I was probably doing like Man
B-dubs and the
Box or
Cool Tones.
Yeah, exactly.
the thing about it though is, even though I don't use it, Brian doesn't use it. Richard, do you really
People
use
love
it?
them.
Not anymore.
I mean, look at Dunlop. They have 40,000 of them.
Yeah.
Different models.
Well, what I was gonna say is the thing about it though, other than a lot of people do like it, when I have to explain to a non-guitarist, like, oh yeah, I do a lot of stuff with guitar pedal companies, they're like, huh? I'm like, you know the pedals that go wah wah wah? There's pedals that make all kinds of different sounds, and then they know what I'm talking about because everyone knows what a wah pedal is, you know. So that's how I explain what an effects pedal
like, oh,
even
the
is.
brown chicken, brown cow thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, they do all kinds of sounds. They don't just do that. And then the eyes start to glaze over, and then they walk away.
Right.
But yeah. So people know what wahs are, even if they don't. It's obviously that ubiquitous. People really get it.
Yeah. Some people really love their wahs. I've tried a number of them, and I've modified a bunch of them, and they're cool, I guess, but not as cool as an overdrive or distortion for us.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I've got a Crybaby wah that my wife bought me nearly 30 years ago now. I'm going to say 26 years ago. And I used it a lot when I was making some tunes, and then I've never used it since. And I bought the smaller wah because I was like, I must have a wah on my board. So I bought the Mini 535Q, and that also sits on a shelf and never gets used. And I guess I'm just not using a lot of wah anymore.
Most of the music that I'm really into has no wah in it. I never really got good at using it. Some people I love the use of wah on. Hendrix, the aforementioned Hendrix, sounds amazing using wah. I don't sound like that. I sound like, what's that guy doing with his feet?
Whatever he's doing, make him stop.
Yeah, please make it stop.
I don't know. So, yeah, wahs I appreciate, and it's not you, it's me.
That's right. Agreed.
Right, okay. We've gone, well, hold on. What do you call the bit between your thumb and your finger? This little bit of skin here. It's like the perineum of the hand. That's the way I'm looking at it. Mine has been shredded by my dog, but has it got a name?
Probably. I just
The
call it the web. I don't have much of one.
My web. Oh, yeah. How
See,
bizarre.
look.
My web's been shredded. So, anyhow, I've gone far enough without talking about it. We'll talk about buffers in a minute. But, Bri, candy canes. Why do you now own half of the entire Indiana stock supply of candy canes?
Well, my wife was wanting to buy some candy canes for her freeze drying machine. And I said, okay, go ahead and, how much is a box? Okay, let's get like 100 pieces, right? And so she typed in 1 and a bunch of zeros and hit enter. I'm like, wait. And the next thing I know, 10,000 candy canes showed up at my door. That's 15 boxes of candy canes. In case and I don't mean I mean 15 cases of candy canes is what I mean. We had 15 cases of candy canes show up.
And how big are these candy canes?
There's small ones, there's big ones, there's ones that taste like nerds, there's ones that taste.
You've got different types.
All different types of candy canes.
Whoa!
So
we've
I did not realize
the actual truth is, as those who are listening to the podcast know, we now have a new freeze dryer in our household, and my wife has figured out that candy canes are 1, quick, and 2, delicious to make. So she bought a few boxes of candy canes.
A few. What are you going to do with all the candy canes?
We are making bags and bags and bags and bags of freeze dried candy canes. It tastes wonderful, actually. They melt in your mouth. They're amazing.
I must try one immediately.
They're really good.
Can you send one down the internet?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could have to ship some out. I mean, go wamplercandycanes.com and fill out the form.
I just went there and got a DNS error, Brian. So
Stop monetizing my hobbies, Brian.
get on the newsletter list there for weekly updates of candy canes and freeze drying. And check out our new course at
How to freeze dry candycanes.com.
myfreezedryer.com. Yeah.
How much is that domain worth to you, do you think, Brian?
What, myfreezedryingcourse.com? Oh,
no, Wampler candycanes.com.
It's probably owned by Wampler Sausage, if I had to guess.
And let me have a look. Wampler Candy Cane, candycanes.com. I can buy that for a penny. I see some arbitrage. I like it, bro. No, I wouldn't do that to you. You're one of my closest friends.
Yeah, so, but I have been
who am I kidding? I've done it.
I have been warned not to turn this into yet another business venture. So,
but she did buy
10,000
candy canes. So, are you really going to eat
10,000? No, that's immediately a business. You have to turn it into a business.
You have two choices.
Diabetes.
I was going to say, you become Wilfred Brimley,
yeah.
or you sell some candy canes.
Yeah, I mean, they sell for a little bag, it's like $10, man, if you buy it somewhere. So,
okay.
There's some money to be made there. So if anyone wonders why pedals aren't coming out as often, it's because I'm making candy canes.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I've never tried a freeze-dried candy cane. I'm not even sure I've tried a non-freeze-dried candy cane.
Really?
What? You've never had it? That's one of the major food groups.
What do you put on your tree at Christmas? You
gotta have candy corn, candy canes, and syrup.
In England at Christmas, we have pints of tea. We have old shoes and boots on our tree. We normally have newspapers and crumpets. That's how we decorate our trees.
Newspapers?
You put newspapers on your trees.
Did you know someone has convinced people in your country that there is an actual tea alarm that goes off in England every day at 3:00? And no matter where you are, when the tea alarm goes off, you may knock on the door of somebody and receive a cup of tea. And there's about 90,000 Americans that believe this.
I would probably say there's probably more than that that believe that.
No, that's when I was there. That happened.
It did not happen.
It did too.
There is no tea alarm.
That nice old man let me in his house, and he said I could have whatever I wanted.
Was his name Jimmy or Gary?
Was there a shoebox in front of him?
Was he smoking a cigar? Did he say now then, now then?
I don't remember. Okay, I blocked most of it out.
Right. Very quickly.
Yeah, we're 50 minutes in.
Yeah, so we've got two topics. One is tearing apart industrial equipment to build better distortion circuits.
Yes, you'll see that on YouTube next week.
All right.
What on earth are you doing,
Okay,
Wampler?
so basically, the way of making guitar pedals is kind of overdone. So I thought there's got to be a different way. How do we make something better or different? I got it. What we need is to take parts off industrial equipment and figure out a way to turn them into guitar pedals. So I've taken apart fluorescent light bulbs, for example, taken the transistors out, made circuits from those. I then thought, you know what? There's a big ass capacitor in my air conditioner. I wonder what that would sound like.
It's currently it's not that hot out. I'll just go pull it out.
I mean, yeah, we don't need air conditioning yet. I'm just going to use that.
Brian, are you building pedals using industrial parts?
Yes, I am. I also found out if you take a huge bridge rectifier, and I mean a big one, then it actually clips the circuit really cool. It does a really cool thing with the clipping. So,
Okay.
You'll see that if you watch my YouTube channel.
And the
Coming
best thing
soon,
about
the
it
Wampler
is...
big muff.
Right.
If you want to...
The only downside is whenever you put it into enclosure, you need a massive fuse box panel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only downside here is that you can't use a 9-volt Boss power supply. You need a 3-phase dedicated supply to your pedal board.
It's basically a 600-volt generator is what you need. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's all worth it for the tone, baby.
That's right. It's about guitar tone.
100%.
Insane. Right. Now, Blake, you've been having some questions about the cryptid. It's almost as if you work for us. I like it. We don't pay you. It's brilliant.
You want me to talk about the cryptid?
Yeah,
because that's what everybody's been asking me about lately. I've got 4 or 5 different messages randomly from people specifically asking this very specific question. How is the cryptid on low tunings? Because they knew that was the first thing I did with it. And guess what? It was the first thing I did with it. They are all correct. And also, at least I didn't go super low. I just went to B, standard baritone tuning. Actually, a little drop A in there as well.
No drop Q.
No drop Q yet. But down to drop A, it's phenomenal. Boy, it's thick. I can get kind of a ratty distortion out of it that's really thick and fun. But you can also get it up to Sputteryville. But that does bring me to something we talked about a bunch of times. But I've seen people...
Yeah.
I've had to answer this question in DMs, and I've also seen people, having this issue. It is designed to go first.
Yes.
Feed it your guitar's direct signal. That is going to get you the optimum result.
Don't use a buffer. Don't use a wireless that doesn't do something with the impedance. Don't use active pickups.
Don't use something that you've just yanked out of your household air conditioning system.
Well, you got to do some modifications to make that one.
Don't use freeze-dried candy canes.
No, but it is designed to go first. So, yeah, if you're using a buffer in front of it, you're going to have some other problems. One of them is going to sound kind of crappy. The other one it's going to be much more noisy. So get rid of that buffer. Put your buffer after it. You'll be fine.
And also, as discussed on a previous episode, it says 9 to 18 volts on it. And Brian's like, yeah, but you should really just use it at 9. And me being a contrarian, I was like, what's he know about it? It's like he designed it. And so I plugged 18 volts into it to see what would happen. And guess what? Brian was right. It sounds bad at 18 volts. So don't do that either.
But people, that's the number one question. Well, can y'all run it at 18? I'm like, you can. I wouldn't do it, but you can.
It doesn't break it. It just sounds bad.
Yeah.
It basically takes it from a 4,000 trick pony to a 1-trick pony.
Basically, yeah. It misbiases everything and just does one thing. Yeah.
I like to run it at 17.5 volts, which is the English voltage. I don't.
Okay.
I just thought I had nothing to contribute, so I'd say
the English voltage sounds like a band you were in the 70s.
That's a great band name, actually. The English voltage. I'm going to write that.
Richard
down.
Oliver and the English voltage.
Too bad the voltage system isn't measured in like with the metric system involved at all. Like millivolts, microvolts.
Interesting. It's a shame that you use too few volts. Everything out there is like 110 volts. Is it that all they allow you to have with your strange AC circuits?
Well, we boosted up with firearms.
Oh.
Yeah.
The best way to boost anything.
Of course.
Hey, speaking of boosting, we probably need to give a shout out to our executive producers.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Did I do that last time?
Yeah, you did. Don't say course. You'll set Brian off. Do you want me to read them out?
Which
I don't mind
course?
reading them out.
Guitar pedal course.
Course.com.
So a big shout out to our wonderful executive producers. That would be Bill Bays, David Tyndall, Dave Trombetti, Shannon Weaver, Eric Wilson, Vidar Frostad. I'm not even going to try and pronounce your name anymore, dude. He has a very cool dad who had an Amiga, though. Michael Freer, Sean Arbo of Gun Street Wiring. I was thinking about him earlier today, actually, because my wiring is still sick as hell. It's so good. So good. Rick Calhoun of Honey Picks made some great new picks. Patrice Fournaise, Brian's doing the thing where he selects stuff to put me off. Dylan Talks Tone, Missouri Electric Box Company, Kevin Harrington Bowery from Grez Guitars, Tom Kelly, Jake Young of the Man the Helm podcast.
This is only really funny to us. Nobody can see you doing this,
Pigsy,
Brian.
John O'Neill, Robert Carr, Hunter Hudson, Rob Stokes, Nick Spano, Sasha Sir, Jay Stratton, Harry Post, Grumpy Mike, Harvey Pedals. I saw a Harvey pedal the other day and I really liked it. Alison Carroll, Bum Laser. Anthony Stevens, Chris Brown, not that one, or that one. Chris Carter, Philip Carter of the 40 Watt podcast. Christopher Logan, Jason Engelhart, De Crowhawk, Dylan Lewis, Josh, James Thompson, Colin Littlejohn, Machete of Odin, Derek Lyons, Darth Bagel, the Wizard of Woz, Crappy Tom, the David Gilmour of Bad Blues, DJ Farnes, Kyle Viana, Dan Ridgway, Robert Hahn, John Hill, Nick Cole, Kyle Ray, Your Face. See you later, chaps. You're wonderful.
Bye.
Later.